Top speed sprinting, or an athlete's max velocity, is literally the difference between fast and slow athletes, and it consequently affects every other aspect of an athlete's speed on the field in their sports. Here are the 3 most common errors my athletes make when they are sprinting at top speed, why it's important to fix, and consequently 1 simple and impactful cue per error to fix it. There are 3 main points why it's valuable for an athlete to improve their top speed sprinting and raise their max velocity. Number 1, straight up, if you increase your max velocity, you get faster, no duh. Number 2, part of the speed reserve is, relatively speaking, if your 100% goes up, well, your 50% also goes up. And third, also part of the speed reserve, absolutely, the same play that requires 15 miles an hour for you sprinting, well, if your top speed goes up, that same 15 miles per hour is that much easier. The first error my athletes make during their top speed running is being too squatty or low to the ground when they're sprinting as fast as they can, and this is going to show up in 3 main ways. First, an increased touchdown distance, or how far their foot hits the ground in front of their hips. So when we're running well, an athlete should strike the ground a little bit in front of their hips or right underneath. Second is there's going to be a lot of lower leg flexion, mainly in the knee, looking squatty at full support. And last is that there's going to be a big thigh split when the athlete first touches the ground, versus the knees should be almost in a line when the athlete first touches the ground on their swing leg. Running squatty at top speed is going to make you slower for 2 main reasons. So if we're cycling in top speed and we're too squatty with a heel strike out in front of your body, first you have to wait to roll in front of your foot with your hips to create a shin angle to then propel yourself forward. And second, with your heel strike, there's no possible way to use all of the elastic energy of your calf and your Achilles to give you a little bit extra bounce. Versus when you foot strike on the ball of your foot underneath your hips, you can then quickly get in front of yourself with your hips and be very bouncy to propel yourself forward very fast. There are a few ways to fix squatty top speed running. First is by literally helping out gravity by wearing a weight belt. I think this is 6 or 8 pounds, to literally make the athlete have to beat gravity and raise their hips up higher off the ground. Second is to cue them just to raise their hips up higher. And the key to watch is not having an athlete reach higher with their chest and their head, but just with their hips. And second, give them an external focus. I'll literally walk next to my athletes with my hand right above their head as they do their dribbles, their straight leg shuffle, or anything like that, just to promote that feeling of being high off the ground. Another name for top speed running is upright running, just to compare and contrast between having a forward lean in acceleration and being upright in top speed. But upright, or truly upright, is not the best way to run at top speed. So we have this picture of Usain Bolt down at the end of our track to show this upright posture, not very squatty, nice straight lines, but he's not truly up and down at 90 degrees. He's leaned forwards 5 degrees, or has an 85-degree torso angle with this up and forward upright running posture. So consequently, the second error I see my athletes make in their top speed running is being too upright. This makes us slower for 1 main reason. When we think that we're coasting in top speed, the chest kind of pops up and it feels like we're almost leaned back a little bit. And because the body is smart and dumb all at the same time, it wants to balance this little bit of a backwards feeling by having something else go forwards, which is your foot. Increases the touchdown distance, which makes it slower, as I outlined in point number 1. And you can fix this in a few different ways. Number 1, you can just cue the athlete to be up and forwards, see if it clicks that way, or you can have them actually feel that. So going up against a wall, a partner, some immovable object, have them go up on their tippy toes, raising the hips high up off the ground, and just have them slowly lean forwards until they can reach that 5-degree forward lean, just so they can feel that feeling of what up and in front feels like. And last is to cue them to accelerate through their top speed. So when we are accelerating in general, we have a forward lean to have our momentum going forwards. But when an athlete thinks about coasting in top speed, they pop up and consequently actually slow down a little bit. So thinking about accelerating through your fly 10, accelerating through chasing down a through ball in soccer, that's going to keep our lean a little bit forwards because we're thinking about making more speed as opposed to popping up and just coasting. The last and third error my athletes make in their top speed sprinting is actually being too tight or trying too hard. And we can use Usain Bolt and Steph Curry as an example. First, with Usain Bolt, as he's cooking to his world record of 100-meter dash, is anyone saying he's trying way too hard or it looks like he's going max out? No, those slow-mo side angles of athletes sprinting in the Olympics, you can see their cheeks nice and relaxed and their shoulders nice and smooth. Versus my athletes, I swear they sprout new neck veins because they're trying so hard with their mouth and their neck and their shoulders, right? And Steph Curry, when he's pulling up from half court, it doesn't look like he's trying as hard as he possibly can. It looks super forced. It looks easy and effortless as he's being smooth and letting everything work together. And the reason why it's important to not be too tight, to have that perfect combo of effort and also smoothness, is there's a inverted U relationship of effort and speed. So you have to obviously try somewhat to put some energy and force into the ground. And there's a sweet spot up top, but there's definitely diminishing returns to where it's too tight and it makes you slower. Because sprinting is a cyclical pattern, we need all of these actions from being on the ground to getting into extension of the hip, ankle, and knee, to recovering the swing leg, to counter-rotating with our shoulders and our hips, to our opposite arm helping our opposite leg. If something is too tight in that sequence, if my shoulder and bicep are too tight, my arm swing is going to be too short and too quick, which is consequently going to affect that stride on my opposite leg. So we have to be smooth to let everything work together in perfect timing to create the most efficient and effective run. So the cue for this would be, how fast can you run, but how easy can it feel? So there you have it. If your hips are high off the ground, feeling like you're bouncing, floating 2 inches taller than you actually are. If you're lean forwards 5 degrees, thinking about accelerating through your top speed. If you're staying smooth and relaxed, even though you are running as fast as you possibly can, odds are your top speed sprinting is going to go pretty well.